Jessie here for My Life in Arts and Crafts, and this was a live video that we did the other day, so I'm just speeding it up if you want to see it in real time. It's a little over an hour long and it is available over on my Facebook page, but I figured we'll just speed it up and throw it up on YouTube so that y'all can watch it. So what I did was I just showed you a couple of the scoring boards that I had recently picked up. I got the EK Success one as well as the Scor-buddy, because they discontinued the Martha Stewart ones, so I wanted to make sure that I was using ones that are available to you guys now. And so I'm just going through and showing you some paper after I scored my card base. My card base was some marshmallow cardstock, and I just showed you some of the Cricut paper that we're using. We used some of the Cricut shimmer paper and some of the pearl paper. The Cricut Maker it cuts beautifully, and it cuts all these different types of cardstock with no problem. I've got some close to my heart, which is about a 65-pound weight. I've got some 65-pound weight from Recollection, which is what my base there is, that gray base. I'm using an image from Kadoodle Designs, and it is the New Year's baby one. I also have a stamp set there from My Favorite Things. I think it's the new best friend. It's a dog stamp, but I thought it would be cute. There's a sentiment in there that says, "You're my new best friend." Would be cute for a little baby card. So this baby image I'm using is actually a baby New Year card, or a baby New Year design. So I am just repurposing that and getting the most out of my images so that I can use them in other ways. I'm inking all of my pieces with Distress tea dye, or tea dye distress ink from Tim Holtz, and I do have all of these things linked below, including that yummy tea I'm drinking. I've got some raspberry tea up there, and I'm also using a mini round blending tool. I've got my EK Success tweezers there. I do go back and forth between a cheapy pair of scissors that I got on Amazon and my EK Success ones, but it's the same design. So I am just inking up all of those little tiny pieces. This skin color is, I think it's champagne. It's either champagne or cashmere paper from Close to My Heart. It's my favorite skin tone. I use Desert Storm, cashmere, and champagne. Those are the three colors that I use depending on the skin tone I want. And like I said, I'm just inking up everything in that same distress ink so that it all matches and all fits together cohesively. I think the only thing I forgot to include before was that I used a Teflon bone folder. So that Teflon bone folder you see there, which is that white bone folder sitting right in that ruler, that is the best bone folder ever. So a lot of those scoreboards come with their own bone folder, but they do not compare. They just, nope, not at all. So I'm just picking off all of my pieces, trying to keep them all together and all the same way. You want to make sure that you don't tip them over and have one inked up the wrong way. So now here's that pearl. No, this is the glitter. One of them is glitter and one of them is pearl. I don't remember which one was it. Which? Excuse me. I really hope I'm not getting sick again. I just got over being sick. So I'm just inking those pieces up. It does take a little while to ink them up. Like I said, the video, when I recorded it on Facebook with chatting with everybody, and thank you for everybody who did pop in and watch that. If you want to see when the videos go live, there will be a link in the description of this video so that you can pop over and like my Facebook page so that you'll see all those live videos. I'm going back and forth between YouTube and Facebook Live just so that I can start switching everything over as well. Not everybody uses Facebook and not everybody uses YouTube, so I want to try and include everybody. So I do have my iPad up because I like to view what I'm recording as I'm doing live videos. That way I can answer any questions as they come up. And so I think I'm just going onto the Kadoodle website so that I can get the image so that I can put it together. So I like to bring the image up, and that way I can look at it as I'm building the image. And so there you can see it is a New Year's image, and the little baby is supposed to be holding a little time clock, but I decided that I was just going to snip that off and use the backer anyway, because I like having that backer. I'm glad Melissa started adding those a couple years ago, because it makes it so much easier to have something to build on rather than trying to just slide the little arm up under the body and hope it stays in the right spot. So I am using some art glitter glue. I think that's what I used. It was either art glitter glue or multimedia matte. It's one of them. I kind of go back and forth. I've got them in these little tiny bottles so that they have that fine tip applicator, and you just slip a little needle in there and they stay nice. They don't get clogged. So I am just putting that together. Here's, I think, when I snipped it off. No, I didn't. I glued some things down before I snipped it off. So gluing down the hair, it's kind of hard to see because the mat is yellow as well. I need to get that mat off my desk. I keep forgetting. But I did scratch up my desk a little bit, so I need to be a little bit more careful. So just glue down the ponytails and then the legs. And you want to look at the image as you're building it for any of the images on Kadoodlebug, so that you can put them together the way that they're supposed to go. So sometimes I'll just glue the piece in the middle rather than gluing it all the way to the edges, so that I can slide any little bits or bobs that need to go up underneath. So like here, I'm just showing you that I left the sides loose so that I could slide the arms under there. And so here I am sliding the arms up under. So this one's a little wonky because it is supposed to be holding something, so her arm is kind of in a weird position. I'm not too worried about it because you're not going to see it once I put my bow on my card. But you just start putting them all together. And I really like that glitter paper because the glitter doesn't come off. And the back is nice and smooth. It doesn't have glitter on the back. It's just a nice smooth white cardstock. And the glitter isn't like chunky. You can feel that it's glitter, but it's not chunky like some of the glitter papers, which is really nice. And like I said, I did use my Cricut Maker to cut all of these pieces out today. I've been really enjoying having my Cricut Maker. It's probably one of my favorite machines that I've gotten. And that's hard for me to say because I've been so in love with everything silhouette for a long time. Even after the Explore came out, I was still really much in love with my silhouette. But I found the perfect compromise. If I'm designing, I like to design in my silhouette, and if I am just making something, I like to use my Cricut from start to finish. But design-wise, my silhouette, and then I can save everything. Save everything as a SVG, and then I can import it into my Cricut and have my Cricut cut it, which is kind of silly, but I really, really enjoy my Maker. So I did use some foam tape to bump up the bow so that it wasn't so flat. And here I just kind of zoomed in. Sorry, I got a little shaky. But I just zoomed in because I'm showing you how I'm going to do the eyes. So I like to do some doodling on my eyes. I like to use some colored pencils or some watercolor pencils, depending on what's available at the time, because my room is always kind of a mess. So I've got, my eyes are green, and I've got a lighter green and a darker green colored pencil. I've got a black and a white watercolor pencil, my Tombow blender marker, and a white gel pen. And I did show my rotary because I was talking about how I had lost it and I had to get another one, and then I found it. So I also have 2 micron pens. I have an 01 and an 03, and they are for doing the eyelashes. So I tried to put it on a white piece of paper so it was a little bit easier to see, And so what you want to do is you want to figure out where the center of your eye is going to be, and then do some little flicks of color out from the center. And then you go back and forth with both of the colors, so do the light color and the dark color. And then you're going to use the white, because the white's just going to give those little highlights. If you were using a watercolor pencil, like 2 different watercolor pencils, you could then blend it together with the Tombow pen. You could blend the colors and just kind of make them a little bit fuzzy, which is also a really pretty look. I couldn't find all of my watercolor pencils because I never finished putting back together my craft room after I started moving everything around. So here I am. I kind of bounced off screen, but I am just putting the eyes together. And then I pick it up and I look at it really close so that I can make sure that they're exactly where I want them to be. You flip them over, make sure they look all right. And then you're going to put the pupils in, the little black circles. And for a moment, she's going to look kind of cross-eyed because you want to make them look kind of towards the center. So she looks a little funny until you doodle up the rest of the way. So then you put the nose on. And then you can put the little binky on. And I used a little bit more foam tape for that binky. And then I'm going to start doodling her eyes. I take the black watercolor pencil and I trace around the outside part of the eye. And then I'm going to take my Tombow blender pen and I'm just going to go over top of that, and it's going to blend it out, basically like you're giving her some mascara and some eyeliner. Smoke out her eye a little bit. So just smoke it out a little bit. And if you happen to get it on the white part of the eye, that's okay. When it's all dry, you can go back in with a white gel pen and kind of touch it up. And now I'm grabbing that white pencil and I draw kind of like a 6 in the pupil and then a backward 6. And then I take my gel pen and I'm going to just put some dots. You want about 3-4 dots in the center of the eyes. So 1 at the bottom of the 6 and 2 up in the top. And then if you need to do any more. And then I took the 03 pen and I just traced over top of that black line to give her a solid black line around her eye. And then I take the 01 and I just start flicking out from the center. For anything, for the bottom lashes, you want to curve them down. For the lashes that are the top part of the lashes, you want to curve them up. So it's kind of hard to see. You'll be able to see it in the finished picture. There's a little corner where her eye is. And I use that little corner where her eye is as the bottom lashes, and then that separates them from the top. And then I took a little piece of a makeup sponge and picked up some peach colored ink. I don't remember which one I grabbed. Excuse me. And I just dabbed that on her cheeks just to give her a little bit of color. And here I am grabbing that stamp. And I used some different colors. I think this was another one of the glitter paper from Cricut. And I just cut this down to be a layer. And then I cut down a black piece of cardstock because I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. So I ended up using a piece of black cardstock and cut this down for the mat. And at some point I will zoom back out, but I don't remember what I did. So I just layered those two together. That baby's going to go on there. And here's where I decided I needed something to go around the card. It was just too plain, too boring. So I started looking through the drawers, trying to figure out if I wanted to use twine or if I wanted to use ribbon. And I did try it with twine and decided I didn't like it. So at first I did some pink twine, some pink natural twine. And tied that around. Put some adhesive on the back even, got it all put in place, and decided I really didn't like it. I didn't like the natural fibers with this baby card. I didn't like it. So I decided to go look through my drawer again and grab something else. And that's when I remembered that I had the Chevron twine, or the Chevron Twill ribbon. And so here I am zooming it back out. Whoop. Yep, totally flipped it over and you saw my messy hair. So here's where I grabbed that Chevron Twill ribbon. And I haven't used that stuff in a long time. So I put a piece around, use some nice strong adhesive on the back and on top of the ribbon. And then I used an oldie but goodie, my Scotch ATG gun. Haven't used that thing in a long time because I've got all kinds of other tape runners. And popped that black down. And then popped the layer, both layers on top of that card. And then I decided I was going to use my stamp. And I really wanted to emboss, like heat emboss it, but I can't find my embossing tools. So I decided I will use some Distress Oxide ink, and I tested it out on a piece of scrap black, and it did show up. So I decided to just put that on my card and go for it. Worst case is I can always cover it up if I need to. So I stamped that down, and it looks alright. The nice thing about the oxide inks is they're designed to layer and to use on dark colors, so you'll be able to see them because they're opaque. So here I am just adding a bunch of foam tape to the back. And pull it all off. And then put her down on that card. And I'm just gonna make a bow. And I like this I keep saying twine. I like this twill ribbon because you don't have to worry about flipping your ribbon. It is the same on the front and the back. It looks exactly the same. It doesn't have a weird grain on the back. It's exactly the same front and back. And so I tied a bow, decided to make my ribbon kind of pinched together so that it would look like the bow was on the front instead of just sitting there. So I used a piece of that twine I had already cut and tied my ribbon so that it would pinch. And then I can put my bow on there. I'm going to use a bit of art glitter glue, hold it down, and then I take my tweezers and I'm just going to push my tweezers onto there until it dries. So I can, nice thing about those tweezers is they'll hold closed quick. You know, you don't have to hold them closed. When you release, they're closed, and when you pinch, they're open. So I decided I was going to add some sequins. So I grabbed some of my frog print sequins, which are over in my Etsy shop, as well as that ribbon. And I'm just trying to put some dots down. One of my glues got really clogged, so I decided not to use it. So I don't remember which one it was. So I put some sequins all over, or some glue dots all over, so I can put my sequins down. And I just used some of the different colors because Frog Prince is made up of a couple different colors of green and a couple different sizes and finishes. So I just want to make sure I got most of those represented in the card. And I think, yeah, and that's it. So there is my finished card. If you want to see more from me, follow me over on Facebook. Otherwise, I will see you guys on Monday for Make a Card Monday. Bye!